Probably been a couple weeks since I've done an update on my Nomad project, but I have made a little bit of progress, so thought I would show you what's going on with the car and where I stand right now. In the last week or so, I did finally get all of the frame repairs that can be done at this point, and I'm really only have to get like 3 more brackets welded back on, body mount brackets. But my friend Joe came out, and just like the reverse process, when I lifted the body off the frame, we just reversed that and used my lifting straps and the bend pack to get the car body lowered back down on the frame. So let's just take a look. Pretty good luck, since this body had never been on this frame. Definitely needed to do some test fitting, so I got the front bolts in. Those are there. These at the A-pillar, both sides. You can't see the ones that are underneath here, but can't get those in. And the ones in the back, that one back there, I need to do some fiddling around with the hole to get that thing to line up. And these that are up underneath there, which are really hard to get to. So anyway, that's a good sign. The car is finally back on its own suspension. Leaf springs, but no shock absorbers yet. So that's that. And I'm going to talk a little bit on the front suspension. So the rear suspension is in the car. Leaf springs, I did the relocation kit, so that's done. One of the things that I was able to do when I got the Mustang ready to put back up there, I moved the upholstery, which had been sitting on the lift for the past several months, and moved this down ready to get that stuff fitted into the car. I'm sure it was never done after the floors were installed 30 years ago. I did discover, see that bracket there? That thing is at the bottom of the seat back. And actually I found out yesterday that that bracket is supposed to bolt to 3 holes that are supposed to be in the inner fender, about where I'm showing the camera. When they replaced my inner fenders, they didn't get to that stage of the reassembly. So I have a friend that has a 55 Nomad not far from where I am, and I'm going to get the dimensions off of his car and get those holes drilled so I can get the rear seat back in the car. So that's the pivot on the bottom, and then you get these clips up at the top that thing pushes back and snaps into. So again, I've retracted every comment I've made about the exterior of the car, but the inside of the car definitely was an orange car. And I say that because when the firewall pad was taken off for the first time, there was orange paint from the factory underneath the firewall pad. So whoever did the upholstery, I assume that they just did whatever had been in there originally. So that's the back seat. You can see my front seat. Little pile over here. Those are the trim panels that go over the inner fenders. Those are my garnish moldings. Those are still original paint. That was out of the car. Those are the rear seat panels. Yeah, that's my dash trim. Getting that back. This is the bracket that still needs to be welded to the frame, or I'm sorry, to the floor pan. And I just found a set of the pivot brackets that bolt to this and to this. So this thing is going to be on a pivot bracket. And I guess that thing folds forward and the seat folds down and it makes a flat cargo bay. Those are my wing windows, nothing to report on that. So anyway, the body's on the frame, got the rear end in it, and then I think what's next is I'm gonna get the front suspension on here. Now I'm not gonna go into the assembly on this stuff, but after watching several videos on YouTube, one of the things that I decided to spend extra money on was a set of Global West upper and lower control arms. This is a lower driver's side, and actually this is the upper driver's side. Both of those things are just sitting there. I guess what my original plan was, I was gonna just buy tubular upper control arms and then reuse the original factory stamped lower control arms. But in talking to the guy out at Global West, he said that the original factory lower control arms are not strong enough to take the point loading of a coilover, which is what I'm gonna do. I ordered a set of coilovers and I'm waiting for those to show up so I can get this stuff all bolted together. But you can see Global West, that's like a 1/4 inch thick plate. That plate is probably 12 gauge or more, fully welded in. So that's where I just decided to bite the bullet and get that. There are bunches of people that compared, let's just call them the eBay tubular control arms, and some people have used those and they've been on their cars for 4 or 5 years, no problems at all. But other people have said, well, we're not sure, and you know, the welds cracked and broke right away, etc. So my thing is, rather than buying inferior quality only to have to put it in and then tear it out a year later and then replace it with better product, I'm just going to go ahead and buy a higher quality product to start with and just be done with it. So again, the plan on this is those are going to be reused with the original spindles, because I'm not going to drop this thing down into the bushes. The steering arms are for a manual steering car, and those will have to be replaced with power steering, because this car is going to get power steering. I got a great big bucket of bolts that came off the front end of the old frame when that thing was stripped down, and then I located the upper control arm bolts. These you can see the knurl underneath the head of the bolt. This frame here, they got pounded out, so I have to reinstall those, then I can put the upper control arms on it. So anyway, that's what's going on the project. Like, share, subscribe, comment if I'm doing anything right or doing anything wrong. If you want a really crazy Nomad project watch, check out Doug at Ellis Custom Cars. He's the guy that's grafting a Nomad roof onto a 57 hardtop that was really rusty. So fascinating build, and Doug's giving nice updates on his project. So anyway, that's it for right now. Thanks for following.